Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our live this evening. Back after a couple of days off, so we took the weekend off. Let's see if we can remember how to get through these lives today. So today we're going to look at another aspect of Microsoft 365 as part of our 30-day 30 Microsoft 365 tips. And today we're going to look at file versioning in SharePoint and in OneDrive. So if you want to know how to avert disasters with your files and how to go back after some disaster has happened, maybe in some formatting, or maybe you've lost a lot of data within a document or something, if you want to know how to go back and get your previous file version, then stick with us and we'll show you how to do that. So welcome to everyone who's joining us live, and welcome also to those of you who might be joining us on the recording. So as we always do with these sessions, I'm going to briefly share my screen with you. So just bear with me a second. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get this back. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay, so here is our screen, and I mentioned to you that we're talking about file versioning in both SharePoint and OneDrive. So what is file versioning? Well, file versioning means that Microsoft 365 is basically taking note of any changes that happen within a file. So be that a Word document, an Excel document, any type of Microsoft file. It's taking notes of all those changes within that file, and it's keeping a version history. So it means that we can not only ensure that we have the latest backup, for example, of that file within the OneDrive or within SharePoint, we can also ensure that we have different versions going back. So if anything happens to our file, and something may happen either from ourselves, or also something might happen because we're sharing these files now with a wider audience potentially. So, accidents do happen. So you go into your file one day and you realize that there's a huge paragraph missing that you were working on yesterday. Well, never fear. You can always go back to a previous version, grab the paragraph, and then you can also kind of mix and match between the latest version. You can bring that paragraph back in, for example, or you can just decide to go back to that version that you were on yesterday, if that's what you decide to do. So here we are in a session. So this will come up now. Okay, there we go. So let's start off with OneDrive. So here's our OneDrive. Now, how do we find version history? Well, here we have a file. So sorry, just bear with me a second. The perils of keyboard shortcuts on remote sessions. So here we have a file, which is this book1.xls here. If I click on the three dots right next to this file, so here we are, the three dots. And down here at the bottom, you can see there's a button for version history. Now, this book1.xls is not very exciting. So you can see I only have the version history for version 1 at the moment. And I can open that file. There's not really much I can do with this file currently. So I can open the file as it is because it's the only version that we've had. So let's open this file and we'll add some information in here. So, okay, there we go. So, and as we've mentioned before, these files get auto-saved because they're online. So we're working within OneDrive and online. So here we go. This is now saved. I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to just refresh the screen here, just in case. Okay, so we can see now that our book1 file, and let me just, yeah, there we go. So our book1 file has been updated a few seconds ago. Okay, now I'm going to click on the three dots again right next to that, and I'm going to go to the version history. And there we go. So you can see that there's now a version 2 in the version history. Okay, So version 2 is the one that I've just saved with that additional information in there. Now, I didn't particularly like the information that I've put in there, and you can imagine, you know, if this was a big spreadsheet and you've deleted a worksheet or something out of that workbook, then that might be a bit more of a kind of a pressing issue, and you might want to go back to another version. I'm going to go back to another version just to show you what happens. So here's version 1. Now, clicking on the 3 dots next to version 1, rather than getting a very small menu just saying open the file, you can see now that I can either restore this version or I can delete that version even. So if I feel like, you know, kind of I'm more than happy with version 2, I don't need to keep version 1 because of space constraints or whatever. I'm using so much space within my OneDrive that I don't have space to keep this other version of the file, or I just don't want people to be able to see previous versions, then I can also delete that old version. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to restore that version. And there we go. So you'll see that straight away this has now created a version 3. Okay, so version 3, as you'll be able to see, is the same size as version 1. And if we now go into this file, so we'll open the file, which is the only option on version 3 because that's the current version now. So let's open that file. And using that link, interestingly enough, it wants to open it within Excel on the desktop. So some of the foibles of Microsoft 365 there, you saw that if we opened it from the main OneDrive window, it didn't want to open it within the app. It wanted to open it online, but here, for some reason, that wanted to open it as such. So you can see that, again, the information has disappeared. This is what we kind of wanted to go back to. We wanted to go back to that initial version that didn't have any information in there, and that's exactly what's happened. So you can see there OneDrive versioning, and that means we can go back to different versions and we can restore those versions if we want. Okay, so let's just move into SharePoint. And remember that we told you in a few of these sessions that Microsoft try and keep these things consistent. So if it looks a certain way in OneDrive, you would hope that it kind of carries on into SharePoint and that it looks fairly similar. So let's go into our files here in SharePoint. So we'll do the old documents here. See all of those. Okay, so here we are inside our document library in SharePoint, and let's try and find a file here. Okay, I'm sure there was one. Yep, there we go. So here's a document that we created earlier. Now, again, as with the OneDrive, we've got the 3 dots, which will appear here if we hover over this. So the 3 dots, let's see. Yep, we've got, again, a version history here. So let's go to version history. Okay, and here we go. You can see that there are 3 different versions of this, and we can also see who these were modified by. So this is in a SharePoint site, so potentially these could be all different authors of this file. We've got 3 different versions, and I'm going to, just before we do anything with this, I'm going to have a quick look at the file, see what's in there currently. So here we go. We have 2 lines, so testing and testing again. Okay, so we'll just close that one down, and I'm going to have a look at the versions. I'm going to go back a version to version 2, but notice we can also choose to view this file before we decide what to do with it. So I can view the file. Sorry, excuse me. Version history. There we go. So we can view details of the file, and then I can also restore that file, and it will ask me if I want to swap it with the current version. And here you can see that we have version 4, which will be version 2, which has been restored, basically. So let's go in here and have a look. And again, this will open up in Word. So it's calling the external thing. So this was also version 2 of this document. And then we can choose to edit it as such. There we go. There we go. So I'm just going to close that. So you can see here that version 2 and version 4, so version 2 was the one I chose to restore. Version 2 and version 4 have the same size, so they're the same file because I chose to restore version 2 and it's put version 4 on top of version 3. So again, we've been able to restore that file to a previous version. And finally, what I want to show you is that, as with everything, so OneDrive, SharePoint, what you can do online, generally you can do through the sync client as well. So let's minimize this screen here. So we have our file explorer here. Let's go into our OneDrive and we have our documents again. So these, well, actually, let's use this document as an example. So book 1, this was the one we were just working on now online. And if I right click on there, oh, where's my OneDrive option? Oh, okay. This is a bit strange. So let's see if so for some reason, yeah, it's working there. Okay. So these should give me a OneDrive option. However, I can't see. So we have the always keep on this device, and we always have the free up space there. Interesting. Okay. Not 100% sure why that's not giving me a OneDrive option, but we can also, up here at the top of our, it will also give us the opportunity to look at all the different versions within Office 365 also. So you've got the version history here, and that will also show me the version history there, and we can open different versions from within Microsoft 365. So there we go, whistle-stop tour of versioning history. So OneDrive, SharePoint, also you can do it through the Windows Explorer. Trust me, there was the option for OneDrive. I'm not sure where that's gone. For some reason, there is the option there to have a look at those versions as well, offline. And Office 365, you can also see the version history up here at the top. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to leave you with our Facebook group initially. So if you head on over to the Facebook group, it's Your Illumino IT is the kind of short version of the group. So go in there. We've got discussions that will go on regarding kind of Microsoft 365, regarding IT, regarding different things in the technology world. So we'd love to have you in there and have a discussion about these things. Answer any questions also that you've got about these technologies. And the website is illuminoit.co.uk, illuminoit.co.uk. Head over there for some guides, some videos, and sign up to the mailing list for more information regarding kind of technology use, how we can help your organization, and yeah, stay up to date with the latest trends. Okay, thanks very much for joining today. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, bye.